Distinguished guests, visitors, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us as we pause on this wonderful morning to honor the thousands of Americans who have served our nation and other nations as prisoners of war. Makes us able to speak on this sacred day. We honor our fallen, particularly those from the Vietnam War who are prisoners of war, missing in action or killed in action. Today we also honor remembrance of our many families who never abandoned hope for the captured and who still hold out a hope for the missing. Their unwavering faith and love is an inspiration to all of us and have been for many decades. As we mark this important ceremony, our thoughts are never far from those who make these sacrifices for our freedom. From the dedicated soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen before you to the thousands of service members deployed across the globe today, our country's young men and women continue to confront the dangers that threaten our great nation as they go into peril. Today we fly the familiar black and white flag across our entire country. It's not only a symbol to honor the POW and MIA community, it is a reminder of our sacred obligation to the men and women we place in harm's way, that we never leave our fallen behind. We owe a special thanks to those who dedicated themselves and worked tirelessly to bring our loved ones home. It is a pledge we made then and continue to honor now, to account for every serviceman and woman who did not come home. There are many more families who deserve closure and warriors who deserve proper military honors and recognition for their flawless service. So today we reaffirm our commitment to ourselves and to the important work. We will not call our mission complete until all our fallen are finally home. It's been more than 50 years since Lieutenant Cleve Tito Lanham was lost during the Vietnam War. On February 28, 2019, the Navy pilot's remains are back home. Lanham was declared missing in action March 1st, 1968. He was assigned to the aircraft carrier squadron aboard the USS Enterprise when his A-6A aircraft went missing during the night mission over Vietnam. He and the pilot were declared missing when the search and rescue mission failed to locate the plane. A Vietnamese office for seeking missing persons team evacuated a crash site in late 2017. Lanham's remains were identified September 25th, 2018 through DNA and other evidence found at the site. Lanham's widow, Charlotte Shaw, chose to bury him in Union City, Tennessee. Lanham's remains were flown to Memphis International Airport, where a Navy Honor Guard escorted him to Union City. The Tennessee Highway Patrol and police joined the procession. Thank you again for sharing this remembrance today, and thank you for your continued commitment. All of you to those who have worn and who currently wear the cloth of our nation. We shall not forget. Our late President John F. Kennedy captures the sentiments of our leaders when he said, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men it produces, but also by the men it honors, the men it remembers." Today we remember our nation's heroes who knew the hostility of war and the anguish of captivity through the commemoration of the POW MIA KIA Day. We honor all of America's patriots who sacrificed their freedom and their lives for their country. The POW-MIA issue was brought to the forefront during the Vietnam War, and an unpopular and controversial war. Americans who fought Southeast Asia did determine the political and military conditions there. Yet it was their thankless task to give up their youth. Remember Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. We received 592 POWs stepped on American soil during Operation Homecoming in 1973. But we were sickened and dismayed to hear the stories of their hardship they endured. We also wondered, where are the others? Have no doubt about it, the President, Secretary of Defense, senior leadership have committed to resolve the issue. The return of all Americans still against their will, the fullest accounting, are those still missing, and the representation of all recoverable remains of those who died. Those are objectives of the highest priority for the United States. If history has taught us anything, it is that Americans will bear any hardship, will overcome any obstacle, and will conquer any foe in the pursuit of liberty and justice for themselves, their children, their countrymen, and others who they will never see. We can never forget those who answered our call to fight for freedom. For their efforts and sacrifice help build today's strong foundation which drives us forward in the dark hours of war and conflict. America's POW, MIAs, and KIAs answer freedom's call. We recognize their sacrifice and our obligation to them and their families. Although the United States has been unable to prove Americans are still being held against their will, we cannot rule out that possibility. Life-saving remains of Americans continue to get the highest priority and resources. The cases are all channeled to the Defense Intelligence Agency for analysis. The case is not closed until the man is returned to life, his remains are identified, or there is convincing information why neither is possible. Let us not walk away today focusing on numbers. Let us remember that these numbers are fathers, husbands, brothers, and sons. The families remember. We all must remember too. Remembering is what the POW, MIA, KIA Day is for, and for a society that demands liberty as much as we do, we must not allow the sacrifice of these patriots to pass from our nation's consciousness. America owes these brave men and women our eternal gratitude. We are also indebted to their families. They stood by with courage as those they loved proudly answered America's call to defend the freedom we enjoy today. Many of these families have suffered decades of pain, not knowing with certainty that the final fate of their loved ones. We have been granted that liberty for more than 200 years, thanks to the sacrifice of countless fightless men and women. Freedom is not free. Freedom comes with a price. Today, we remember the POW, MIAs, KIAs who fought to protect our freedom and lost theirs. At the same time, we pray for those engaged in today's struggle to protect our freedom for future generations. God bless their bravery and courage, and God bless America. Thank you.